Hi YouTube family. Today I want to talk about the covert narcissist. And I've been kind of mulling this over in my mind, reviewing what I know about a certain covert narcissist in my life. I had known this person for, a really long time, multiple years. And all that time I thought that this person was the complete opposite of what they turned out to be. So I saw her real face not too long ago, a few months ago. And this is when I saw her real face come out from behind the mask, I realized, now I understand. Now I get it. And so anyway, I want to share that with you. And I also want to ask you what your experience has been, if you've had an experience with a covert narcissist. So if you have liked my videos so far, and if you have gained any insight or found value in these videos, I hope that you will subscribe, and I appreciate that you do, because that just helps me to make more of these and encourages me to continue to make more of these. So anyway, so we're back to covert narcissists. All right, so I'm going to talk about the one that I know pretty well because I've known her for so many years. A covert narcissist, as I have come to understand, is just like an overt narcissist. I mean, they have the exact same personality. They have the same survival instinct, is to take care of themselves. They feed or get supply in the same, they need the same type of supply. They need to be constantly valued for their appearance or, I guess mainly that, but they need to be valued for their achievements, or actually the covert narcissist a lot of times seems to be a humanitarian person. They seem to be very giving, very helpful. They seem to be quite generous with their time, possibly with their money. And it seems like they tend to they take care of people who are around them in a way that makes the other person just think, oh my gosh, no one is like this. No one is this giving to me. But in the meantime, they don't really value the person they're doing this for, which is the bizarre part to me. So why I say that is I've watched this person completely immerse their people who are doing worse than they are. They love to help those people who are doing worse than they are. And so she would help people who are much younger than her, and it would seem like she was a mother to them, and would console them or help them through issues in their life. But what I have seen recently, in the last few months, is to these same people, and I had not seen this before because I never got to know that side of her too well. I was never the needy person in the relationship. I was just a friend. So I have seen where she would attack the person who was in need. And the person who was in need is like a couple of decades younger than her, like a teenager. And she's a grown woman, but she would expect the teenager to be the adult while she threw her fit. Okay, so that was part of the mask that I saw come off. And it took me years to finally see this side, because all these other years that I was friends with her, she would tell me about what she would do for these young girls and how she would help them in their life and in their struggles and their bad home life. And she'd be kind of the mother to them and giving them advice and embracing them. So they felt loved by her until she pretty much would feed them to the wolves in her life, the male narcissists in her life. She would feed these girls to the male narcissist in her life, which to me, I didn't realize at the time that's what was happening. It's so twisted and horrid. Okay, so the side that I knew was the humanitarian, selfless, giving, kind, embracing, loving person that she portrayed herself to be. Then I also saw another side of her. Oh, and this is the crazy town that now I understand why the men in her life have had so many problems with her. And I'll go into that as well, because the men she also tends to attract are overt narcissists. Not all of them were, but enough of them were. I'd say 3 of them were, and 1 of them currently. But the men that she would attract mostly, it seemed to me, would be the overt narcissists. But the ones, then there were some that were not, like I was saying. But she would treat them all the same. Once she'd lure them in, and I'll tell you about that later too, how she would lure them in, she would then turn the tables on them. That's when she started showing her crazy psycho side. She would devalue them. She would not feed their ego, of course, because that's what these overt narcissists need, right? They need their ego to be fed. But she would tear them down and tell them, what she didn't like about them and devalue them. And I started realizing that a couple of the overt narcissists, after a relationship with her, I mean, you could say they deserved it because they were also narcissists. They came out quite wounded because they did not get the supply they thought they were going to get from this loving, generous, kind, person, empath that they thought she was. And the crazy thing with a covert narcissist is they do the exact same thing an overt narcissist does. They devalue, they gaslight, and it's the gaslighting that I saw come out of her kind of recently. It was verbal fighting, right? She would get into these incredibly insane, irrational arguments with these guys, and there is no way they can win. She would twist everything that they would do into something a narcissist would, where they're the aggressor and she's the victim. Now, I did not notice this until she started doing this to a guy she was dating who was not a narcissist. He was actually a really good guy, and he got caught up in her web, and I saw how she treated him, and that's when her narcissistic character came out and in full view of me. And I could see now what she must have done also to the other narcissist boyfriends who were in her life. And anyway, so that's how I used to think that she was the victim, because her narcissistic boyfriends had been the ones who were overtly the aggressor. She would share with us, these really rude and critical and just very insensitive emails or texts that they would send to her, telling her, listing all her problems and how they should help her and that she needs help. And she made it sound like they're trying to control her, which probably, they were, because they were a narcissist. But the one that she became overt to as a narcissist, he was not an overt narcissist. He was not a narcissist. He actually cared about her, but she became the overt narcissist in their relationship. And she would switch, standards on them as well. She, in one instance, accused her boyfriend of cheating on her when she had kept telling him for months that she's not interested in a real serious relationship with him, or a monogamous relationship with him even. She said she was going to date other people, and she wanted him to date other people. And he kept telling her, no, I want to marry you. And then she kept saying no, she doesn't want to be married to him. So she insisted that he date other people. So at some point, she finally kind of called it quits with him. And she was dating other people. And she told him, look, let's just take a break for a while. I need to figure out whether I want to be with you. So during that time, he hooks up with another woman. Then she comes back and she says to him, she can't believe that he cheated on her. And he was flabbergasted. He didn't know what to do. He thought she essentially had already left him and decided that she didn't want him anymore because she was moving on with her life. So even though she said, I got to figure this out, but generally she was also saying, I know I don't want to marry you, and I think we need to cool it because for your sake, because you won't let go of me. And so here he was letting go of her. She lost her mind. Because a narcissist cannot be left. They can't be the one who's abandoned. They have to do the abandoning. Anyway, and it's so insane. She also would oh my gosh, I don't even know how to go into all of this. But she would gaslight him. She'd make him feel like he was the cheater. She never cheated on him, even though she did. But she said, but I told you who I was going out with and who I was sleeping with. And you didn't tell me that you were sleeping with other people. But she told him to sleep with other people. And then she turns it and added a new rule, which was, well, if you were going to sleep with someone, you were supposed to call me and tell me you're sleeping with them. What the heck? Okay, I haven't been in multiple relationships in a, dating, scene for a long time. But what I understand is when you tell the other person to date other people, they don't need to come back and tell you who they're sleeping with or if they're going to have a sexual relationship with somebody else. I mean, when you tell them go be with other people, find out if there are other people that you want. I didn't realize they were supposed to come back to you and get your approval if it was okay for them then to sleep with someone that night. I mean, it's just crazy town. Anyway, so I do want to talk about how a covert narcissist attracts an overt narcissist. Because now I'm wondering if this is common, because what I have witnessed, is that the covert narcissist is very coy and sexy, though, at the same time. He or she will come off as a wounded victim of such horrible relationships that were abusive to them from the past. And to the overt narcissist, this is really attractive, because now the overt narcissist feels like they need me, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to rescue them, and I'm going to be the big influence and the hero in their life, whether it's a woman or a man, because the overt narcissist wants to be the one in control. So they think they're going to come in and get the supply from the covert narcissist, but at the same time, get that person to rely and depend on them. It's also incredibly unhealthy, but so the overt narcissist plays like this wounded deer and so coy, but also knows how to attract them with appearance. The appearance is very important to them too. So of course the overt narcissist is attracted to that. Oh my gosh, so sexy, so hot. But at the same time, so like a baby fawn. The covert narcissist acts a little meek and demure, but then after they capture their prey, their target, they become a parent. They become like a parent. They start to become overbearing. They start to order the other person around. They start to change things around and tell them what they're doing wrong. And they just take over. And at first, the overt narcissist finds this charming, because remember, the overt narcissist is actually very insecure. So when the covert narcissist becomes like a parent towards them and wants to nurture them and take care of them as if they're a child, the overt narcissist finds this endearing. They think this is very charming. So anyway, so once they get the overt narcissist looking at them like, oh, you're just this weak, wounded deer, oh my gosh, that's so attractive, right, to an overt narcissist, because they think they can come in and pretty much take advantage of this person and manipulate them and get them to love them and give them supply. Well, once they come in and they fall for this, she then turns the tables and becomes quite critical of everything they do, what they wear, how they behave, how they keep their home, just how they speak, whether they're intelligent enough for her or not. Oh my gosh, the list goes on, and it continues throughout their relationship. She does not stop going on and picking at them about all the things they need to change to meet her standards. All right, because image is very important to her, even though she keeps telling people it's not, but it was very important to her. So she would do this until they just feel like, there's nothing left of them. And she actually, I've seen her, oh my gosh, talk about this crazy, toxic environment that when two narcissists get together. Because the overt narcissist is trying to control her, obviously, right? And telling her all the things that are wrong with her. She's trying to control the overt narcissist by nitpicking and telling them all the little things that are wrong, but at the same time acting like a wounded little deer, which then they feel like, oh, she's the injured, helpless lover that they cannot resist. And so it just messes with both sides, right? Each of their minds are just totally messed up with each other. And so anyway, that's what I have noticed. And it's just so incredibly toxic. It's so incredibly, I don't even know what to, how to explain that. You do not need to be jealous of this at all, because it's total crazy town. And I would not wish that on anybody. The people I have seen in these relationships with her, her and them. And at first she played the victim from my side, and as a girlfriend, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for you. These guys are horrible. But then in this last couple of relationships I'd seen her in, I realized, I saw her mask slip because she slipped with me. She showed me her angry, her bitter, her completely irrational side. And there was no talking to her. There was no helping her, because she was in this crazy, psychotic, irrational fantasy world where she is the perpetual victim, and the rules that she changed on people became her standard for how they victimized her, even though she did the exact same thing to them. And I would point that out, and she could not see that. And in fact, she got so irritated with me and angry at me, she kept saying that you're on their side. I'm not on their side. In fact, she's my friend. She's the one I've known for a long time. So I'm not going on their side. I'm just trying to help her to see the truth. But honestly, now that I have seen the truth with her, I felt really bad for trying to encourage the innocent guys, the good guys, to go back to her. Because I feel like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that I did that. I did not know this side of her. So anyway, YouTube family, I hope that this opened your eyes to what that kind of relationship looks like when a narcissist gets together with another narcissist. They have no idea what they're getting into. But it's best for us to stay out of it, stay clear, and move on with our life, because we really do not want any of that crazy town. YouTube family, if you like this video, please subscribe, please like it and comment. I would love to hear from you. And you go have a great day. I wish you lots of wholeness and lots of healing and lots of joy.